Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Can We Talk? So I'm Kim. Thank you for joining us tonight. One of the things we believe is the power of sharing stories, sharing experiences, and sometimes hearing someone else's journey reminds us that we're not alone, especially during the hardest parts of infertility. So today we are joined by Everdene, who has experienced both the joys and heartbreak that comes with IVF. So we're very happy and very heartfelt for her to come and share with us today. After going through 2 IVF cycles, she conceived her son and became a mom at the age of 40. But as many people don't realize, having one child doesn't mean the fertility journey is over. And now 4 years on, she's back on the journey again, and so we'd like to invite her to come and share. So let me invite her in and then we can start today's talk. Hi everybody.
Hello, team.
Hi.
Hello.
Thank you so much for joining us today. All right. So maybe we'd start off by getting you to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your family. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm Everdene. I'm a mother of one. He's a little boy. His name is James. We just gonna keep it simple. Like we just say James. Yeah. So I conceived at 40. And he's a lovely boy. I think he makes me smile every day. But of course, when he's naughty, I think I'm not gonna be really a nice mom after that. Yeah. So I think it's really nice to manage to have this child so precious. Then to me, it's really a miracle.
Yeah.
Currently, I'm caring for him. I'm also in a business, supporting my husband. So yes, so it's not easy to manage both my son and work.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
so
That's
that's the story about myself in short.
yeah, that's a whole nother story. So obviously, you started your journey and you finally conceived at the age of 40, and that's why we're here today. But maybe you could share a bit about, how the journey started right at the beginning, and and how long did it take you? Let's start from the beginning.
Yeah. So, thank you really for inviting me to share my story, Kim.
No
I
problem.
think my motto in life is very much about impacting lives, and I encourage one or two or even many more. I think when I started this whole thing about TTC, it was very, very difficult because I think honestly I married at 34. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So and I mean I just thought that it's okay, I get married at 34, it's easy for me to conceive. It's fine, it's easy. So when I get married, I told my husband, I say, I want to enjoy the couple time. So that was the reality. I think the other side was I love to work. I
Mm-hmm.
enjoy working.
Yeah.
I find purpose in that. So when I got married, I thought that my life was really nice. I have a good job and just enjoy my honeymoon. But I think there was this reality that hits in. I mean, honestly, we just have our natural sexual intercourse, and I mean that was the intimacy, right?
Yes. Yes.
And I truly enjoyed that. And then I just thought that okay, if God bless me, yeah, we're gonna have a child. But I think my husband being very logical, he started to share that actually, Dean, like if we want to have a family, we have to start like kind of now. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He was a bit more gentle.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think he gave me some pointers.
Mm-hmm.
He directed me. And it kept me thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was how we started the journey about, should we conceive now? Should we conceive later?
Yeah.
We tried to go holidays
Mm-hmm.
because I think in Singapore sometimes I just find it a bit stressful. I'm like
Yeah.
always engaged in work.
Mm-hmm.
We planned for holidays, and that was helpful. That
Yeah.
was helpful for us to try. But unfortunately, I think nothing just worked. And I mean, I got married at 34, and then we tried for 35, and then 36. Eventually, I think my husband was saying like, shall we try like IUI? He was
Mm.
very, very sensitive to me
Yeah.
because, to be very honest, initially I mean, I am very hesitant towards all this kind of extra procedure. I was like, I'm fine, like we just try normal. Yeah, it was just very difficult for me to accept that,
Yeah.
I have to choose the other way.
Mm. And I
Yeah.
think, it's a very different type of story because, a lot of times it's the wife who's I think just for context, your husband is actually a TCM practitioner, right? He's a, and
Yes.
therefore he has a lot more knowledge in terms of fertility and everything. So it's
Yeah.
quite interesting to hear him being the one who's telling you that, oh, maybe let's try this, or it's time for you to have a beginning of the fertility. So it's a different point of view, I guess.
It was actually quite okay. That part was quite challenging, to be honest, because you see, he wore two hats.
Yes,
First, he is my husband.
correct.
Second, he's a TCM physician.
Mm.
He focused in fertility and gynecology. So he can be very logical to share, like you need to do this and this and this. But I think what I needed from him was not about just the logic behind. I
Mm.
needed him to understand me why I doesn't want to go. I mean, at that time, I didn't want to go for IVF. I wanted to try natural. I think there was this emotional thing that I needed. Yeah.
Mm.
And I was being very honest with him because we went through some heated arguments, to be honest. I was like, don't ask me, don't tell me. Yeah, yeah. But he was trying to share with me, but I was resistant because my mind was
Mm.
set that I just want to try natural. Yeah.
The resistant, I mean, like, and it's very interesting. What was the resistant part of you? Was it because you didn't think it was natural, or I mean, was it the point of view that I think as a woman, I think I can do it naturally, or what was the resistance, you think?
I just find that why I have to go through all the pain. Yeah, like the
Okay.
pain. Yeah. Is it like there's something wrong with me or is it something wrong with you?
Yes.
Yeah. And I don't want to point finger.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just deny it that maybe there's an issue with me or maybe there's an
Mm.
issue with him. But
Yeah.
actually there is nothing much to, like to talk about, is it me or him? Because we went through tests and all that as well. Yeah.
Mm,
So
mm.
I think that's the reality. Yeah. And we really tried month after month.
Yeah.
And I think one of the biggest challenge was I mean, even though he's a TCM, physician, but he was always very engaged with his patients, right? So sometimes my information is also quite like bits and pieces of everything, like what I need to do. But
Yeah.
I think there was one thing that was so important to me was I didn't know that I actually only have 12 times a year.
Well, what do you mean?
Because ovulation, right? Every month
Yes.
after
Yes.
ovulation, you try.
Yes.
That this thing never stuck in my mind that I
Oh,
only
so it
have
didn't
12.
register.
Exactly. It didn't register that I only have 12 chance.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think this is quite important, although it seems to be a bit stressful to be very honest. But I think I
Mm.
needed that, Dean, dear, we only have 12 and let's really try what we can. Yeah.
Yeah.
And now that we try, let's really move to another step. Yeah.
Mm.
I think I
Yeah.
needed this kind of like information because that's me.
Mm,
If
mm.
you suddenly ask me to jump
Very
into
logical.
IVF, exactly. Suddenly you ask me to jump into IVF. I think I'll be like, what? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So that
So
that was.
so you got married at 34 and then you kept on trying and everything, or you enjoyed life. But at what point in time, or how old were you when you said, okay, let's go see a proper fertility doctor and
To be honest, I mean, when he kind of like downloaded this, we decided to do an IUI. So we consulted a gynae, and we
Mhm.
thought that we should try IUI first. That was
Mhm.
approximately about after 2 years. Yeah, close
Yeah.
to 1.5 to 2 years. We tried IUI, and it wasn't easy for my IUI because I didn't respond well to the medicine. So I need to have jabs. Yes.
So you did the whole SOIUI.
Exactly, yes. But it didn't work out. I was not pregnant back then. So I told myself, saying, hey, that's it. I just want to rest. Yeah, to me, even the IUI experience was enough for me. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
Yeah.
because it was just difficult for me to accept that why I
It
have to
is.
go through. Yeah,
Yeah. No,
yeah.
I think a lot of people don't really talk about SOIUIs. SOIUI is actually so but because it doesn't sound as invasive, but it is actually because you're doing all the injections and you're pulling on the hormones to yourself and everything. So it's actually as tough as an IVF in certain ways.
Yeah, but it's milder in a sense, shorter. So
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
so it was like, why me again? So there's all this about why me again? Why am I so special? Why me again? Yeah, it's just very difficult to accept that lah back then. Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously then you had that time where, okay, you rested your body. And then so when did it come to, so after an IUI, what did you kind of do next?
So like I mentioned, I was a workaholic. I love my job. I think that was at the second reality that I need to face.
Mm.
If I continue to be so ever busy, it would just be very difficult to do anything. And I needed that rest.
Yep.
I think I wasn't resting enough. And most of my peers, my friends would tell me that, including my family. I'm always doing something,
Yeah.
even though I enjoy doing. But I think the reality is, was then, I really need to rest my body.
Mm-hmm.
I need to ensure that my body is more balanced,
Yeah.
and just enjoy that the simplicity. Like
Mm.
just eat, enjoy. Yeah, I can work, but I'm just like always pushing myself to do a lot of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
I think that is a lot of people. It's not, a lot of people just think that, and you enjoy your work, you enjoy doing what you're doing. But I think there's a lot of stress that is not very visible. You don't really feel that type of stress, but it still takes its toll on your body, I guess, at the end
it
of the
does, it
day.
does, it does. Because at night, I'm so tired already, even though I feel like trying. I mean, I'm just tired about it. And I was like, it's okay tomorrow. But I miss that.
Yeah.
I miss that first month. And then,
Yes.
again,
So
left on the
11, there's only 11 left.
exactly. Then you left 11. Yeah, and you do not know what's next, every month. And I think even trying for, the ovulation, I want to see,
Yeah.
if my LH surge, I'm ready to then, try that window where I'm the most fertile. And that was actually very challenging to me also. Yeah, I mean, before IVF, I just find that it's like a task. Yeah,
Mm.
like like we're trying for a child, but why does it seems like it's like a task I have to do? So it was also a lot of mindset breaking. It was difficult. So anyway, after that whole episode, we went through IVF, and I actually did a daring move. I was actually promoted in my corporate, back then in my corporate, and
Yes.
I had to lead a big team, and it was very difficult.
Mm.
I think after having, I mean, I was in a role for just a short while, and I think my husband and I decided that I should take a sabbatical, yeah,
Mm.
to do what I need to do for my next,
Yeah.
which was then IVF that we considered.
Okay.
Because back then, I think I'm really into my 37. I think it's important to make that call.
Yeah.
It was difficult, but we thought that it is needed.
Mm.
So I took that step. Yeah. And
Looking
then I
back,
started my IVF.
so looking back, I mean, it's a big step, and I think it's a lot of times it's a big question for women who are having a successful career and then, having to take a step back. But looking back, I mean, do you think it's worth it, or would you still have taken the same steps if?
I think, to be very honest, I would, because I find that I'm able to put things better, prioritize my life better.
Yep.
Because I'm the very extreme. I'll just work and I will not eat. That's
Mm,
how I respond. Yes, and that's me. I mean, everybody responds to stress very differently.
yeah.
I will work through the night and I'll sleep very little. And so my whole body was just very imbalanced. Yeah. And so even my gastro health is not good. Yeah.
Mm,
So I mean, even for whatever nutrients I'm taking, I mean, of course I have my TCM family, I have my friends who are doctors as well to share
yeah.
with me. I mean, that's not actually like healthy. So I think lifestyle plays a part. But
Yes.
I'm not saying that everybody should quit the job, to just have sabbatical. But I think
Yeah.
if we could have a short break, I think that's important to just recharge. Yeah. And then
Yeah.
go back to that, that family, like you and your husband decided to say, hey, like this is who we are. We form we form the marriage, we are a couple, and we hope to really have a child. I think that was very important when we were doing IVF.
Mm,
Because I do not know about the outcome of IVF either. Right? I mean, it is an assisted procedure, but whether I can conceive or not, I wouldn't know the outcome.
exactly.
And so when I went through my first IVF, honestly, I didn't really ask a lot of questions. Because as you know, I told you earlier that, I was very sensitive. My husband was very gentle, very sensitive towards me. But I struggle quite a fair bit because I fear needles a lot.
Mm,
Many years ago, I had a day surgery. I think that the needle that was poked onto my chest area frightened me. And any needle that's on me, I just have fear. Yeah, yeah. I
yeah.
mean, I can do a little bit of acupuncture, but I just can't manage.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when I knew that IVF had to go through so many jabs, injections, and all that, and you need to do a lot of blood tests, when I heard about it, I was actually very frightened every day.
Yeah.
That's the
Wow.
reality. Um,
Mm.
my husband knew. I think one of the things that he did for me as a family was he accompanied me to the clinic to do the jab.
Mm.
uh, I mean, I requested for help,
Yes.
and then we had the nurses to help me to jab.
Mm-hmm.
And the beauty of it was, I remember my husband just managed the time, and we go first thing in the morning. We wake up early, and he told me one thing that I always remember. Dear, after the jab, I have to go to work, and please go for the breakfast that you love
Mm.
and just eat it. Yeah, and
Yeah.
if mom or even if his mom, which mother-in-law can accompany, he will love that somebody's with me. I think to me, somebody to be with us matters. I feel,
Yeah.
yeah, and that was how I went through my first IVF, where someone is always with me. Uh,
Mm.
that helps me a lot. Maybe because I am just somebody who needs somebody. Yeah.
No, but I it's nice to hear that because I think that it's good that you knew what you needed, and
Yes.
it's good that somebody could have provided it for you. Because I mean we often see ladies who I think are very independent ladies, independent, career women, whatever, and then they go into this, but yeah, what I need, or sometimes the husbands also kind of don't know what you need. So it's nice, and I think it bonds you guys together even stronger on this journey. The
It
fact
does.
that I know that when we're doing this together, even though I'm going through the pain, I'm going through the injections, but we're in it together. Yeah.
It was very difficult. I mean, I cried, and I mean, the first IVF,
Mm.
actually, I conceived. I mean, I did um, by a miscarriage.
Yeah. So
Oh,
it was a
sorry,
very tough
sorry,
time.
sorry,
No,
sorry.
no. I think the journey brings back a lot of raw emotions, and it's as real as it gets. Sometimes it doesn't leave you,
Mhm.
and talking about
Mm,
it is never easy. So I'm so proud of you
mm,
for sharing today
mm.
um
I named him.
for what you're doing. But yeah, so
I named this. I don't know. Somehow I felt that this is a boy, and then I named it Emmanuel, and then I did something because I think one thing that I really don't know a lot of things. So yeah, I carried, and then I didn't do any D&C, but I just let it miscarriage by itself. But I was holding it for 2 weeks before he
wow.
came, and it was tough. It was tough. Yeah. So I went through it, and it was like because I think at the onset, when I know that I got pregnant, it wasn't. I mean, I was notified that I may have a miscarriage. Yeah. So I was persevering quite a fair bit, sure that I'm holding it, I'm holding it. But unfortunately, I mean, I have to let go.
Yeah,
And that's why it was quite difficult for me to go through my second IVF.
yeah.
Very difficult. Yeah.
Because of the trauma of
Because of the
of
trauma. Yeah, because I felt that having to conceive was really so tough, going through
mm,
the IVF thing. Although I had my husband, but I think it was the whole emotional part that, I have to let go something that I once have something in me. Yeah. And it's about me and my husband having the embryo. Yeah.
yes,
And it was alive. And
yeah,
and I have to let go. So I think I actually went through almost coming to a year where I had to reconcile myself
yeah,
within me, and I even sought because I'm a Christian, to be honest, so I even have to sort like
yeah,
a time where I have to confide in my pastoral team and share about my emotions and get healing.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So that was me back then for my first IVF.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and no, it's real. I think that. So you did the first IVF, then was it just a transfer again, or was it a whole IVF cycle again, the second round?
I did the whole IVF cycle again. And this time it was a bit different. After
Mm-hmm.
running through the emotional thing, and I got healing and I got support from my family. My husband then was already building, he's actually helping more people with, like fertility and,
Yes.
gynecology issue. So he prepared my body even more because he finds that, after this, dear, let's do the last, let's go for the second step. So he encouraged me to be even bolder as well because he knows that in me, I'm always very courageous. Yeah, I say, you can, let's do it. I think that also helped me in my mind shift. And then he will feed me with different things. I mean, complement with supplements, complement with TCN, different treatments that I have to do. And then when I knew that, okay, I'm ready, and I think there is, to be very honest, sometimes there is nothing to say like when you're ready. Yeah, you just know that I'll do it now. And when the heart says now, then it would just be now. Because otherwise the mind will just be saying, no, 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 there's all these things. The mind will just stop you from moving ahead. And so I told my husband, say, okay, let's start now. And we did it together. Yeah. I think the second IVF, we prepare ourselves better emotionally, physically. And then we try. And again, this time round, it was very different because he didn't jet for, we didn't go to the nurse to jet for me, but he did it personally. Yeah. So,
Do you think that was easier or harder? Or
and
generally, what
interest-
did you feel?
And very interesting. Actually, when he jabbed me, I thought it was harder, but actually, it was much easier. Yeah.
Easier because you were at home doing it and the stress of going to a clinic, or what made it easier?
Because we actually pray before we jab.
Right? Yeah, fair enough.
Yes, we did. I think there's some spiritual, strength that we connected to prayer. And I did it at home. I find that going to the clinic can be quite taxing also because you got to wake up very early in the morning. So he did it for me, and then we could plan our time a little bit better. So I don't have to rush in and out, and he doesn't feel rushed as well. So I think that was actually nice. So before he jabbed, we prayed together, we held hand, we say every jab, and we encourage these little things. I mean, I think to me, the second IVF was, to me, easier than the first because I know what to expect.
Yes.
But because of the process where we did the little things together. Yeah, say, okay, ready? Okay, we go. I said, sure, let's do it. And I wasn't that fearful of that jab. Yeah, and try. But I mean, some jab were really painful. Yeah, because as the number goes up, right? I mean, we will have two jabs a day sometimes. So, that was challenging, lah. Yeah.
Because of your fear of needles and everything, do you still think that needles was the harder part, or was the emotions also equally as hard or harder?
I think it's the emotions as well. I mean, needles is because I fear, and I do know that a lot of women fear needles as well. But I think at the end of the day, right? Because I think for IVF, the gynae is actually like giving you the dose and etc. And you know that every jab will cause your body to respond very differently. Yeah, because I know that there's gonna be a lot of hormones in my body, and then I may have OHSS. I mean the nurses will tell you everything, and then you'll be saying like, oh, in case you get so bloated, there'll be some pain. I was like, okay, yeah, what's next? Yeah, so I think there is this like unsaid stress in me as well. Yeah, like okay, every jet, okay, it's gonna be like more bloated. How's my body gonna be? Yeah, and if I inject already, how many eggs will be collected? Will that be enough? I think there's a lot of like me anticipating as well. Yeah.
Yes.
And that is like at the back of my mind that was also like telling me that, will I have a lot of eggs? Will I have no, will the gynae be able to collect a lot or not? So yeah, I felt that there was this stress as well, but it was very unsafe. Yeah.
Yeah. For someone, I guess, listening to your personality, you're someone who likes a lot of control,
Yes.
in doing what you have. And so when you don't have the choice of control,
Correct.
yeah.
You're right. Because I just want to control everything, but I just find that I couldn't. I just have to abide to the protocol. Yeah.
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 I feel you. I was exactly like that. And I think it's the hardest for personalities like us who cannot just go with the flow. And so when it's not within what we can do or we can hold, then it gets a bit, our mind kind of messes us up a bit as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think, when I went through my second IVF, I mean, I did ask myself, I suddenly remember, when back then when I was in corporate, I have colleagues who went through IVF, and I was the one who said, don't worry, IVF, you want to try, just go for it, just go for it,
Yeah.
and it was just so easy for me to say, but I suddenly recall that I had a conversation with somebody, but actually, it's experiencing it. Yeah. It's just so different, saying and me experiencing the whole thing. Yeah.
Right.
And so, but I carry, um, I mean, the truth is, well, I knew that maybe because when I had my first IVF, I got pregnant. I was really putting a lot of hope that I will get pregnant in my second IVF. Yeah.
Mm.
So I was holding it actually very tightly as well. So I think that
Yeah.
pushes me to say, I'll try it again. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was me then. Yeah.
So okay, you went through your second IVF, and then what was the results of that? What happened?
So I went through my second IVF. Obviously, the result was better. Yeah. So I was able to. I had more eggs that was fertilized, and
Yeah.
I could actually do for transfer after that because I successfully conceived, and have James after my second IVF. So
And the joy, of finally having that pregnant, but obviously because of the previous miscarriage, which was obviously very difficult, what did the pregnancy feel like? Was there a lot of fear involved?
yeah. So I mean, I don't know if I should share this story, but Uh, I would say it's coincident or not, but to be very honest, when I had my first IVF, before I had my miscarriage, there was this like bird that was flying past our car and then, hit our car and then died in we have this like number plate. Yeah, just so happened we went inside and the bird just died there. And that was when I knew that I was pregnant. And I was like, okay, why was there a dead bird? Okay, that's fine. You just moved on. Subsequently, I had a
Mm-mm-mm-mm.
miscarriage. So, but so when I had my second IVF, and then when I knew that I was pregnant, to be very honest, the same thing happened.
Wow. And
It's a,
so,
it's a, it's a battleship of the mind.
yes.
But this time around, it was a bird. It was a dead bird that was hanging like on my roof, just above,
Yeah.
and I could see
Yeah.
that. But the color was green. It
Mm.
was a green bird. Yeah, sorry, but like to me, it's like it was exactly the same time, and this thing just happened, and I actually told myself to not fear. Yeah, it was a battleship in the mind, to be very honest. Like, why would this thing happen? I mean, it's a coincidence and all that,
Yes.
but sometimes it just so happened. And I fear, and after that, I really bleed. I had spotting. Yeah. So when I had spotting, I just went to a gynae and I just went to a gynae myself and I told my husband, say, don't follow me. I just want to go by myself. So again, like I just want to be courageous.
Yes.
I went, but when I went to my gynae and they said I had spotting and all that, that was the time when my gynae said that there is a heartbeat of the baby and I heard. And that was the first time that I heard the heartbeat and I really cried. Yeah. Yeah. So to me, the battleship of the mind was real. Yeah, because
Yeah.
anything can happen. Yeah,
Yeah. No, it honestly goes to show how freaking strong women are. I,
very
you know,
strong.
I really think women are super women. The amount of things that we have to go through and, end up at a stage where we need to, get through emotions, get through. There's so much that we have to get through, and ultimately we become stronger for we are. So so you had James, and he must have brought so much joy to your life.
A lot.
And then so now, so okay, so has after having the baby and everything, did you think that okay, that was it? My journey here, my fertility is coming. Did you ever think that, or did you always know? After I do this, I'm gonna try again.
I think one of the biggest challenge, when I did the embryo, I mean, I had like 11 collected and I had 9 fertilized and I transferred 2 and then I was pregnant. So I have 7 remaining. Yeah. So when I knew that, again, it's always at the back of my mind that, when is my next transfer? Yeah.
Yes.
So, and I thought it was just like easy again, say, okay, yeah, I'll just do it like later on. But it was just tough because, when I'm caring for a baby, there is always that challenge.
Yes.
So when I was pretty much ready about 2 years after James was born, I decided to just go for another transfer. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then unfortunately I was hospitalized. So I think that was the difficult part as well. So I think going through the whole IVF, I think there is this thing about us as well, like what do I do with the remaining?
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the reality. It's like I want to use up everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
But using up is one, you know what I mean? But
Mm.
I have to manage myself as well, whether is it the right time? Yeah.
Yes.
So I didn't really say like I choose this time or that time, but I think 2 years after Jane was born, I think that was that time that I felt that I should go for another round, given that I wasn't young as well. To
Mm-hmm.
care for another newborn was difficult.
Yeah.
And then to care for the second newborn with my toddler, I think that's going to be more challenging.
Yeah.
So I went, and this is the part where I felt that it's another level of challenge because I was hospitalized with UTI,
Mm-hmm.
and it was severe because I had a drug allergy, and I couldn't try for my transfer, of course.
Yeah.
And then along the way, there was some incidental finding. It was just like just overwhelming, just
Yeah.
overwhelming. Yeah, it was
I think,
overwhelming.
yeah, no, I think I mean, I was like, oh my God, we thought it was just going to be simple. And then who knew you would, it just round after round, you found out so many different things and so many things happened to you and incident. And wow, it's crazy how things can happen. Having gone through the whole entire journey and everything, and the second time round, knowing that there's James and everything, how have you been able to, has it emotionally been a bit easier because of the fact that, there's James there? Or do you think that there's a lot of, because people who are going through the second time round with secondary infertility and everything, there's a lot of guilt involved as well, that I want to give my son a sibling and I can't. So, but tell us a bit about your thoughts.
So I mean, just now was about the health, and then I decided that okay, I will just try for a second child, given that
Yes.
I had like 4 more embryos to go.
Yeah.
So this is my last try, and I'm actually trying this month, and unfortunately I have to postpone to next month. There were thoughts in me that to be very honest, the reason why we want to have another kid is coming from two perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
One was definitely like most of the moms would want to have another boy or girl for the first child, right?
Yes. Yes.
That's the reality because we just hope that they can be together and they're not lonely, that's
Yeah.
fine. But I think the second one is I really do not want to just put those embryo aside. I
Mm.
find that it was me and my husband responsibility that let's try
Yeah.
because there could be potential life in that,
Yes.
and it belongs to the both of us. And when we decide to go for IVF, we just sense that we just told ourselves that these are the embryo that forms us. Would there be life? We do not know.
Mm.
So we just didn't want to just discard it.
Yeah.
And so when I went through my first round of embryo transfer earlier this year, I knew that I have 4 more.
Yeah.
The stress wasn't that much. It was like, okay, I'll just try. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was failed. I was like, okay, I did my best. But this time round, I was under a lot of stress
Mm.
because I realized that this is almost like my last try. It
Mm.
was almost the same like my first try.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's my last. No more. That's it. James is going to be alone if you fail. There is all these words that was keep coming to me, and that was stressing me as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although I mean, I would tell people say, yeah, it's okay. I have James. Yeah, that's fine. I have one. But when you know that you still have this embryo left, and that would be like going to be the last, there was this unsaid stress that was actually, yeah.
Mm.
And I don't know how to articulate that to be very honest, but
Yeah.
it was just quite stressful on myself, and
Mm.
so I try to better manage my body right now, yeah, like making myself more balanced, yeah.
Mhm. No, I think I think a lot of ladies listening can relate on two different parts. I feel that one part is that the fact that, we still have embryos is very difficult to discard. I mean, I have my 3 kids now. My daughter is 3 years old. I still have 2 embryos. that sits there that I pay for storage fee every year because I don't know how to tell them to discard it. I'm never going to do another transfer. I know I'm not going to do another transfer, but how do you give up something that's so precious? And so my husband's like, so pay again. I'm like, yeah, pay again. Until when, I don't know, but until I can say that I can discard them. So I think that a lot of people, and I know a lot of ladies can relate to that. And then there's the other part that I know that a lot of ladies relate to is that when you kind of know that it's almost there, the number of embryos is like the last embryos you need to transfer. The the amount of questioning you give yourself is crazy because what if this, what if that, what if, a lot of times it's the mind that plays us again. And I still, yeah, for you to share this, I think a lot of people relate. So you don't have to articulate in words, but we can relate.
Actually very interesting, Kim. There was this thing that was in me. I don't know whether, I mean, that was actually another question that I had, like, do I
Mm.
want to donate it?
Mm. I've thought about that before. But I realize it's not simple. We cannot just donate, apparently.
Oh,
And
okay.
yeah, no, we've had ladies who say, oh, actually, I'm thinking of donating. And then okay, to donate an embryo, you need to have gone through a lot of checks. You can donate eggs
Yeah, yeah,
easily, but
yeah.
not embryos and this and that. So it's also not something that you can just say, okay, I give you and this and that.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, but I'm glad more and more people are thinking about it. And I think it's a lot bigger in European countries and this and that. But in Singapore, I've talked to doctors. I don't think there's even been one embryo donation here in Singapore at the moment. But it's a conversation to be had for later on.
Yeah.
But I think the thought of giving that life to somebody, I think, is a very, 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 very precious thought.
Yeah, I had this side thought actually, but it takes courage
Oh,
to
for
do that.
sure.
Yeah.
So much courage. Yeah. So, how has it been balancing having a child and doing this? It's very different from your first experience where, you had your free time, you took your sabbatical, but now you're managing little James as well. Has that been different or difficult for you?
Actually, I was quite, I mean, I don't know whether consider this to be like, I told my mom was like, why did you actually show James that you had this injection, or why do you have to tell him like all these things that you're going through, this transfer? So, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, my mom is a bit more conservative, right?
Yes, yes.
So that day I was actually called to do blood tests and I showed James, and I actually shared with him my journey.
Yeah.
I find that was very important because that's how I get strength to
Yes.
do this transfer.
Yeah.
And I even say that daddy's going to help me to jab right now because I need to actually do a jab, which
Mm-hmm.
was called by my gynae. So I decided, and then I asked James, I say, hey, James, because he's at 4, he's understand. I say, do you want to accompany me to do this together?
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember my husband did that for me in my second IVF.
Yes.
And now that we have James, I think I just wanted him to do it together as a family.
Mm.
So yeah, so he watched me and then he kind of like, hold his, he's hugging me, using his right arm, yeah. That was a support to me, yeah. And I actually filmed that because I wanted it to be like a memory as well. Because I want to be encouraged along the way that I have the support even from James, whom I conceived through IVF,
Yeah.
and I think these are really encouragement to me and my family, and
Yes.
to anyone that I could encourage as well. That the journey of every IVF can be done within the family as well, and that was very important to me.
Yeah.
So that strengthened me as well
Yeah.
emotionally. It was not easy. When I know that I have to call off this second time for embryo transfer, it was not easy as well. I was like, each time I want to do a transfer, something just stopped me. Each time I want to do a transfer, something just stopped me. And it's very tiring emotionally because when you're ready to transfer, something just stopped you. And then you have to pick yourself up again and say, okay, I just have to take another leap of faith to say, this is now, okay, I'm going to do it now. And you're just preparing your whole body again by going through your supplements intake, your TCM, treatments, etc. And, we're just repeating the cycle.
Yeah, and your whole life you're just waiting for this.
Yes.
It's just waiting for this to at least, to be done or to do or whatever. Let's just do it, and
Correct. And because of my health, right? So and then I just have to postpone. And then I was like, hey, I'm already like coming to 45. Am I really not using this remaining four? Like, am I really just going to put there? Like, I don't want, you know. You have all this thought that was like ringing in your mind, and it was very challenging. Yeah.
You know, now bringing back your husband again. So at the start, we talked about, you know, all the support that your husband gave and everything. You know, then now talking about, you know, your husband has seen you go through, obviously, you know, going through the miscarriage, then James, then, you know, where you were hospitalized, where your health situation was so serious, you know, and this and that. At any point in time, did he say, let's not, you know, let's not risk it, you know, or, you know, or how has he been since then in terms of helping you through this?
To be very honest, my husband believes that I'm first. Yeah, he did say that to me. He said, I mean, he called me dearie, right? He said, dearie, it's okay if we're not going to have the second. I think that really that really touches my heart. Yeah, so it's okay because you are equally important. But I have to make the decision that it's okay. I would like to try to see if we could have. Because I think at the end of the day, when we were like thinking through our whole process, it has been a journey of togetherness.
Yes.
It was not alone, it was together. And so when my husband told me that, I just find it, regardless of what I'm doing, how stressful I can be, whether my life will be at risk, I think having another child forms our family. And I just want to give the last try and just do it. So my husband did really say that, you know, it's okay if you don't want to. He is not pressing the button.
Yes.
I think he truly respect that I need to be okay about it. Yeah. So yes, that's the reality.
You know, I think it's so touching or heartwarming when the support of the husband, I think, is so important, and to have both of you on the same page, in the same going in the same direction, everything makes things at least a little bit easier.
It does. Yes.
But when it's also supportive as well, you also want to give him the best. You know, it's vice versa. At the end of the day, it goes both ways. But yeah, it's not easy. It's
It's
never
not
easy.
easy. It's not easy because on one hand it's about myself, on one hand it's about my husband, on one hand it's about the family. Yeah. So, but when I say that, I think he was supportive and he was like, "Okay, let's do it together." I think that speaks about we being courageous about it. Yeah, and taking that responsibility. Yeah. Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, I just wanted to briefly just talk about this as well, is that, you know, your husband being a TCM practitioner, that makes things very different as well, I guess, you know. Do you think that influenced your, the way you are make decisions, or do you think that it actually doesn't make a difference? I make decisions based on how I see things, or, you know, or do you think that your journey has improved for the fact that TCM has played a big part in your journey?
I think when we want to conceive, it doesn't matter whether it's a TCM or gynae and all that. I think TCM is complementary, right? So we have gynae to lead us, to support us in IVF, you know, to scan us and all that, which TCM can't do that, right? Yeah. But I think TCM is coming from there where how can I join and support you in that TCC journey, right? Yeah, where I complement with the gynae. I think that's really how we always echo it. Yeah, like we become, and you know, we do. I mean, for my husband, he understand. You know, like whenever a gynae needs to do any protocol, he knows when he needs to stop. He knows when he can support and how to complement. And the onus is on the patient, which is like me. You know, whether do I want to adopt TCM methodology? You must be comfortable, and I must be comfortable.
At any point in time, were you not comfortable, or did you say that?
I was not comfortable when he really want to use needle on me, which is acupuncture.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean there are good benefits, you know, stimulating and all that, but we choose the other alternative, which I find better. I did womb care therapy. Because
Womb care therapy, is it?
yeah, because I mean, 子宫, right? We always believe that, you know, the womb must be warm, not cold.
Yes.
And each time when I touch my, you know, my tummy area, yeah, it's a bit more cold because I used to wear a lot of shorts, singlets and all that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I've learned that actually doing my second IVF, I actually clothe myself so that I feel more warmth, and it helps my body as well. I don't get sick easily.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I try to do more exercise so to be more balanced, to be very
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah.
So I did that. And so I think the wound care therapy helps me. Yeah. So I mean, I can't do acupuncture doesn't mean I can't do another one. So yeah, it's okay. Yeah. And I don't have to be overly stressful about like I can't do this, then does
Yeah.
it like
No,
waste
it's.
my time?
I think it's interesting to know from your point, because obviously, you would think that, okay, if acupuncture given, it's nice to hear that you are not so comfortable, because instead of saying that, I'm comfortable to everything he's going to give me, and isn't it? But at least there's alternatives and
There are alternatives. Yeah. So like we take TCM medication, and not all TCM medications are not also, right? So
yes,
yeah,
correct.
I think at the end of the day, consume what I'm comfortable, take what
Yeah.
I can, and
Yeah.
then just do my best. I think that's very important. Yeah. Because
Um,
otherwise the whole journey is not complete as well. Yeah.
yeah. So, okay, now looking ahead, so obviously you're planning, everything has, unfortunately, as we heard today, has been put on hold until the next thing. But at the end of the day, what do you think gives you hope to keep trying? I want these to be things that you'd like to share with people, things that you've learned on your journey that you think ladies should hear, going into pregnancy at 40s, trying again for a second one, and everything. How have you been able to get through all this, and what do you want people to know?
I think most of my story, to be very honest, is the first was difficult, the second was easier. The first transfer was easy, but the second and the last transfer was very difficult, which is the current. I think it's always a joint decision between me and my husband
Mm.
that we decide together. I mean, I don't know if you can see, like, I have this my wedding ring.
Yes, yes.
I think it was like a reminder to myself and to anyone that from marriage, it was already a covenant between me and my husband. That we remind ourselves that through thick and thin, that we walk through things together. So whether is it we successfully conceive our second child or not, I think we are still a family. Yeah, me and my husband. Of course, I have dreams.
Yeah.
Of course, if I have one more, I'll be like happy as well.
Mm.
And I think that's really about me encouraging any ladies or women who wants to try for a TTC journey. That at the end of the day, we go back to once we are set, it's a joint decision. We raise it together.
Yeah.
Because it's a covenant that me and my husband hold together, that we decide together. And there's no like pointing finger. There is no like push blame. Should we find that, any issue that's on me or on you? Yeah. So I mean that's the reality, to be honest, because I witness people pointing fingers and all that as well.
Same. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of that, yeah, for sure.
And so to me, the very simple thing is we go back to the fun. I mean, I will go back and encourage everyone to go back to the fundamental is everyone says walk the journey together as the moment you're on your TTC. But actually, I love to add on that, hold on to the covenant. Yeah. And if you need that strength, just be very open about it.
Yeah.
I think um I used to hide myself, especially with my IVF, and I just didn't want to tell anybody. And that was terrible. Yeah, it was very bad. I don't feel that I have the support. Yeah. Yeah. So I actually, when I share about my struggles, I felt better. I felt that there were people who strengthened me and I could breathe properly and I could. So the community helps me, but the community need not be a lot of people because it can be like just one or two, but people who walk through with us, to me, that's important in any TTC journey. I mean, that's my personal journey.
Yeah.
And so this time round, I share with people that I'm going through transfer, because I want to be lifted. I want to be encouraged. And I think that means a lot to me. Yeah. So yeah, that's really what I would like to share. Yeah.
I think that, your sharing tonight I think it brings a lot of reality to situations, and it's a very real journey. It shows you the ups, the downs. Things can succeed, things can go wrong, things can take a break. Unexpected things can happen, and there's joy there, there's sadness. There's a lot of different things that can happen on a journey,
Yeah.
and ultimately, Evelyn, every time I hear your story, when you share me, I always think you're so freaking strong. with with the amount of things that you've gone through and everything. And for a lot of ladies out there, it's crazy what God puts us through, and what God thinks that we can get through. I think that's always, something that amazes me.
Mm. Mm.
But thank you so much for sharing. I hope that the next time we hear from you, we hear good news. Just now you said that you're sharing so that people lift you. I know that every person who's listening to this story that you've shared today will be there to lift you. I'm so sure of that.
Thank you.
And yeah, it's Visit. Thank you for sharing your story and being honest with the fears. I feel you and I can relate to what you're going through. The power of sharing is, it truly helps a lot of others. So I am so thankful, Everdene, for your sharing today, and I truly wish you the best.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you for inviting me to share about my story. I hope I have encouraged someone else.
100%. I think you were very nervous about sharing. Will you want to hear my story? We'll listen to that. I think it's sharing stories brings strength, as I said just now. And I think with that, people will come out of this knowing that I'm not alone. I think is also the biggest thing. And so, yeah, 100%. 100%.
Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you, everybody. I hope that today's conversation has brought you more strength, and I hope that all of us, will pray for Everdene, and and hope to hear good news from you. And for those who are listening, everybody's journey is very different. Nobody's journey is the same. Some people's journeys may be easier, some people's may be more difficult. So there's no comparison either.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but we just know that we are thankful for whatever we have, and whatever comes, and just remain hopeful. As long as you remain hopeful, things will be fine.
Yeah, really. It's really the hope. Yeah, just hang on. And once you decide, just do it and do it together.
Thank you, everybody, and thanks, Everdene. Have a very good night, and please have a lot of rest. We will speak again soon.
Yeah. Good night. Thank you so much.
Good night.